For the last 2 days, Bitcoin has been teetering between two absolutely critical support and resistance levels. But what is next for Bitcoin's price based on the TA? And I'll also be giving you my opinion on what I think Bitcoin is doing right now. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Charlie Chalupa, and boy oh boy, do we have some prices to be plunging into in this webisode. As Bitcoin continues to bolster itself, this is getting extremely interesting. As we talked about yesterday, these are the most exciting times in the market, in my opinion, not after we've had a pump, but before a potential massive pump or dump. This is where the excitement lies, and this is where record-breaking levels come in. There's absolutely something brewing on these charts, and many people are still curious if we're going to be getting a pullback. But guys, what if I told you these dumps that we've been getting are attempts from the bears, and very, very actually valid attempts of this market to try to push it lower, but yet we have not been able to do that. So what does that mean for the bullish case and the bearish case for Bitcoin? That's what we're going to be absolutely rumpaging into in this rumpisode. Wow, so if you guys like massive gainers, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications as well, you guys. As always, all comments enter for BTC or access to T4. And for anybody with experience trading, make sure to check out our links and bonuses below. Remember guys, all trading, leverage or not, is inherently risky. But if you have experience, you want to support the channel as well, make sure to check out those links below. Wow, I hope you have a clean sock, because you are going to need it after this webisode, guys. Before we jump into the Bitcoin TA, I also just did want to mention that I have been kind of following and trying to keep up to date with the XRP news, as it is probably some of the most breaking news in the space. It doesn't really relate or involve Bitcoin, as Bitcoin's not a security. There was no pre-mine. Again, kind of irrelevant, but yeah, we are going to be keeping up to date about it. Don't really talk about XRP on this channel too much, and I don't really have an opinion, negative or positive. I'm kind of just watching to see what the deal with that is. But as always, yeah, I would appreciate if you guys maybe share your opinions in the comments about what you think about the current lawsuit going on with Ripple. XRP, very interesting stuff. Wow, this is absolutely very interesting. Bump my piggy bank, guys. So as we talked about yesterday as well, on this daily chart, Bitcoin actually held the RSI of the overbought level right on the 70, which is very important. We were talking about that. We said a very nice plunge to the bottom of this channel would become very likely if we actually broke below this, and we haven't. We've actually, if you actually take a look in this real close, it looks as though we dipped very, very slightly below it, but we're above it, I believe, right now. Yeah, you can see it kind of like barely dipped its toes in there. But guys, there's something overall that I want to talk about Bitcoin's current momentum. Guys, I've been watching Bitcoin charts almost daily for nearly 4 years at this point. You don't even have to do it that long to get a nice sense of kind of the rhythm and flow of the market, especially as it tests certain levels. And you see these drops happen on even some of these like 15-minute charts, right? If you're watching the chart live, I love doing that. And if there's a massive dump or a massive pump and you're watching it on like the 5-minute chart or something like that to see how strong momentum is, to see how quick the candles go up and down, you can get a very nice sense of the momentum. And based on everything that I've been seeing, as we talked about, there is still a possibility, and it's inevitable at some point, that we'll get a pullback, albeit it probably won't be as low as some people expect. And basically what I'm referencing is I personally don't think that we are going to come visit the 21-week moving average where it lies right now. What I mean by that is I think that after it has more time to go up over a few weeks, then I think it becomes more likely that we will revisit it. But seeing a $14,000 Bitcoin right now, barring some type of black swan event or barring some incredibly negative news, I think that that's very unlikely. So basically, what I just said is that I think that even if we do get a very big pullback, a very strong pullback, I personally don't see that pullback bringing us anywhere near this 21-week moving average as it lies now. So guys, back to my original point here is that, when you actually start to get a sense of the market, when you watch it all the time, you get a sense of how strong momentum is. One thing that I personally, again, this is just my opinion, and then we're going to get into the TA, but one thing that I've gathered, in my opinion, based on these charts, is that the momentum has changed drastically. We just got out of a 3-year bear market not too long ago, or almost 3-year bear market. And guys, I can tell you this price action is fundamentally different than it was. This is extremely bullish. This is a level of bullishness. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but this is a level of momentum that we did not see to the upside for Bitcoin until just recently, until kind of the last few months so far of the year 2020. Okay, things have fundamentally shifted. There are so many patterns that have been printed on these charts over the past few months that could easily swing very bearish. We could get very nice breakdowns, and we just simply have not. And if these patterns would have been showing on the charts back, most of 2018, all of 2019, and even some of 2020, the beginning part of 2020, guys, you bet these pullbacks would have been drastic because we had these exact patterns, whether it is descending triangles, rising wedges, or like rising channels, broadening wedges, all of that. We've had all of those patterns throughout this entire bear market, and they usually did break bearish, right? We had many signals, many macro patterns that were just simply more bearish leaning, because no pattern is 100% bullish or 100% bearish. It's all just probability. But we've had so many patterns in the years 2018, 2019, and the beginning of 2020 that were pretty bearish, and we got bearish breakdowns. We had the price drop. And we've seen so many of them on some of these charts over the last 2 months specifically. So from October to now, we've seen a fair amount of them. And even if it is bearish divergence, right, we've seen this. And in my opinion, this has already played out. So we'll talk about that a little more. But we've seen so many bearish patterns, and we're just simply not getting the breakdowns to the levels that you would expect if we were in an environment that wasn't extremely bullish. So what I'm saying is Bitcoin is extremely bullish right now, and you can tell by the price action. You can tell by the price action on not only the daily and weekly charts, but you can see it happening live on some very small time frames. Looking at the hourly charts and even 15-minute charts, if you catch it in the middle of a move, some of these patterns that are being printed could easily bring Bitcoin lower. We could easily get pushed down and break some key levels of support and resistance. And from what we've seen so far, right, I don't want to speak too soon, but from what we've seen so far, Bitcoin has just basically been extremely bullish, even in the bearish consolidations. So for example, guys, if we just even go to the 1 hour chart, there are plenty of levels that we could see Bitcoin break down here. And again, like we said yesterday, we didn't even get a single hourly close. This is the hourly chart. We couldn't even get an hourly close below this key level of support, which was initially put on the charts here back on December 17th, so like 5 days ago. Okay, we had a wick lower, and technically this hourly candle closed a little lower than here. Okay, so technically a lower low. But realistically, these price targets, there's nothing overly bearish about anything that we're seeing so far. In fact, when we get to these breakdowns, these certain areas where we could see a much bigger follow through with a breakdown, we just simply are not getting it very strong. The bulls 100% seem to be in control, in my opinion. Now, guys, I also just want to add on to that. What I'm saying right now does not mean that from here on out, we're just going straight up and going straight to 26. No, all of the targets and all of the price pullback levels we talked about yesterday, they're still valid. They're still 100% in play. But simply all I mean to say by what I just rambled on about for the past few minutes is that Bitcoin has been incredibly strong, even when we could expect it rationally to go even lower. And we're just simply not seeing that. So if we go into the 1 hour chart, again, you can see this very key level of support held right here, right around like the 22,300-ish area. Then we have this very important $23,000 even level, which is kind of this green oval that I have on the screen. Very important. It's kind of been like the pivot point of where Bitcoin has been over the last 5 days. You can see it's right above the point of control on the VPVR, which is roughly 22,700. And basically this too, we can see it on the 4 hour chart as well. It's actually really clean on the 4 hour chart, so we're going to show you on that. But on the 1 hour chart, you see we had this level of support here, right around 22.3. Then we had this next level that was basically hugging 23.3 instead of 22.3, so an exact $1,000 more than that, but also basically right above the $23,000 even level. So we had that here, and then we had a breakdown to the exact level that we were holding as support right here, so another retest of that. And now it looks as though Bitcoin did break back above here, and it's trying to cement this level of support again, which was the support back here. So it's kind of been teeter-tottering, okay, low, higher low, then come back to the same low. We did technically come a little bit lower, but not super significant. And then we've now pushed back up to that other previous low here. And if we go to the 4 hour chart, you see that very nicely. And again, it also lines up perfectly with these fib extensions, the 1.272 and the 1.414. So again, level of support right here. Then we have level of support. We have the support here. And then we have the support here, and now we're trying to form that support here again. So what that looks like here, the arrows are too big. I don't want to, gets a little messy when I draw that in too much, but basically, yeah, we have support, 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 and we're trying to cement support here again. breaking above 24.2, I think makes it very likely that we're going to break up to 26,000. Okay, I think that's very likely if we can actually break 24,200 concretely. And keep in mind, this sideways consolidation is very necessary for that to happen in the first place. Let's say we would have come up here, we consolidated here, come here and then failed and then tried to retest again. That's not a lot of time to, really test there. So again, a few days of more sideways consolidation is 100% welcome from my perspective, because it helps Bitcoin kind of reset some of these momentum indicators or oscillators, and just gives it the energy to push forward, because even in the most bullish environments, we're not just going to go only straight up. You see this happen on any chart. You see it kind of ebb and flow, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down, but overall the trajectory is up. And guys, it's not anything new that I'm saying here, but the overall momentum is up. So whether we get that pullback or not, I personally, like I said in yesterday's video, I personally would love to see a retest of this level. It's possible we could go up to 26,000 and, maybe even get a pullback to where we are now and find support here over the next few weeks. So we come up like this. So we come up here, maybe come down, and then continue up. So that's also likely. And that means that 20,000 might not even have to be an area we test for support. I personally would love to see that. I think that would be the best scenario. But one scenario I think makes very little sense at this point is for a revisit of the 21-week moving average all the way where it's currently at. So I am looking to see this actually come up over the next few weeks, potentially see that as a pullback area. But right now, with it being down at the 21 week being down at about 14,500, I just have a really hard time believing that Bitcoin could get down there again, unless something fundamentally would happen. Like, I don't know, US saying they're going to ban Bitcoin, which you can't really even do anyway. It doesn't really make sense. And what's interesting today as well, Bitcoin looking very good, even though the DXY continues this 2-day kind of retest here. If you would ask me overall, this still looks very bearish in my opinion. It's not very good that it's not even able to break back above the 21-day moving average here after getting this bearish cross here with the 21 going below the 50-day moving average. This is the DXY, the US dollar index. But yeah, this to me just looks kind of like not a dead cat bounce, but like, it's just trying to get above here, and it looks to me like it's going to fail. There is absolutely zero reason on this planet that I think, there's zero reason that exists why the US dollar should be strong right now. The US dollar basically couldn't be more weak. To me, I believe we've printed like over 20% of the entire U.S. monetary supply this year because of obviously the crisis that began and is still going on around the world. Specifically, it's very bad in the U.S. But I just see absolutely no reason why the U.S. dollar would be strong. And even the technical indicators are showing that it's not. We're just getting a pump today. A little bit, not even that significant, but we are getting a move upward today. This is the only green candle you see on this chart since, let's say back in the very first week of November. So about 5 weeks ago was the last time we had a green candle on the daily chart, which is absolutely ridiculous. But again, the US dollar is absolute garbage. And if we just go back, you can see why we'd be bouncing here anyway. This is our last level of support going back all the way to 2017 and 2018. So again, there most likely should be continued little bounces here, but overall, I still think the trajectory could easily, and should fundamentally and objectively swing to the downside, which we have only seen be a good thing for Bitcoin's price. So yet again, just another fundamental reason why we should be bullish on Bitcoin. Everything about Bitcoin right now points to it being bullish. And even if we just look at the technicals for 1 second, it's very clearly bullish, right? New all-time highs, absolute massive trajectory recently. Wow, so if you guys are new to the channel, as always, make sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications. Bitcoin absolutely doing what it does. If I would have to sum up this video, what I want to see Bitcoin do and what I think makes a lot of sense, Bitcoin to trade sideways a little bit longer, maybe 2 to 3 days, and potentially have another retest at 24,200 and try and break to that next fib extension level of about 26,000 US dollars. That's what I'm waiting for. But again, we have those downside targets in mind. We talked about that pretty much the entire video yesterday. So if you want those targets, just watch yesterday's video. But mainly also what we're looking for every time we get to those levels where Bitcoin could dump, watch it. See what happens. See if Bitcoin shows strength, because I watched it all day yesterday and Bitcoin only showed strength yesterday. So if you guys are interested in trading, you want to support the channel, make sure to check out our links to Bybit, Femex, Dudex below. Some very nice bonuses on Bybit. But remember, all trading is risky, and never trade more than you're willing to lose, and always be careful.